A brilliant flash split the darkness over Crimea. Within seconds, flames roared across the Kerch Strait, illuminating the night sky like a sunrise of destruction. Cars halted, drivers frozen in shock, as one of Russia's most prized structures, the Crimean Bridge, burst into a colossal fireball. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Frontline Report channel. Please subscribe and like my videos. Tonight, we break down one of the most dramatic moments of the entire war, when the symbol of Russian control over Crimea became the stage of humiliation for Vladimir Putin himself. From its burning exterior to the shattered interior, the performance and planning behind this massive strike, its unique implications, its staggering cost, and finally, what this means for the war ahead. Let's dive deep into the story behind the explosion that shook Russia and stunned the world. The Crimean Bridge was not just concrete and steel, it was a symbol of dominance. Spanning nearly 19 kilometers across the Kerch Strait, it linked Russia directly to Crimea, a region annexed in 2014. To Moscow, the bridge was pride and propaganda. To Kiev, it was a chain that bound Crimea under occupation. When the strike happened, it wasn't just an explosion, it was a political earthquake. Flames tore through the steel arches, black smoke spiraled into the sky, and for hours the bridge that carried troops, tanks, and supplies to southern Ukraine was rendered useless. The exterior of the Crimean Bridge after the explosion is a haunting sight. Steel beams are bent like paper clips, road decks collapsed into the water, and rail carriages loaded with fuel tanks still burn along the upper rail section. Drone footage shows sections of asphalt peeled back, girders hanging loose, and massive cracks running across the support structures. The explosion's force melted steel, fractured concrete, and sent large fragments scattering across the sea. The bridge's signature white arches, once pristine, are now blackened by smoke, with embers still glowing in the distance. The water below ripples with burning debris, oil slicks, and floating remnants of vehicles that once crossed this highway of war. From this exterior devastation, it's clear this was no minor incident. It was targeted, powerful, and meant to cripple a critical artery. Inside the structure, chaos reigns. The interior maintenance tunnels and support chambers are scorched, wiring ripped apart, lighting systems destroyed. The maintenance rooms smell of burned insulation and metal. Emergency cables dangle from ceilings, sensors are melted, and structural braces have snapped. Some areas deep under the surface are flooded from ruptured pipes. Engineers and rescue workers move cautiously through the wreckage, searching for signs of stability, while others scramble to prevent sections from collapsing entirely. The short-lived interior scene tells a story of violent shock and overwhelming pressure. The heat inside was so intense that metal fittings fused into molten masses. Whatever safety protocols were in place were no match for the inferno. The performance of this strike is nothing short of extraordinary. It demonstrated surgical precision, high intelligence coordination, and technological sophistication. Analysts believe Ukraine used sea drones, explosive-laden unmanned surface vessels, or a combination of long-range missiles and covert sabotage operations. The attack was designed to bypass Russian radar and hit at the weakest structural point where maximum impact would cause cascading collapse. Russian defenses, including anti-drone systems, naval patrols, and air surveillance, failed to intercept. The strike occurred in the early hours when traffic was low but symbolic visibility was high. Within seconds, flames engulfed both the rail and road sections, igniting fuel tankers and spreading secondary explosions. The precision timing and synchronization reveal a level of tactical evolution in Ukraine's military capability. This was no random success. It was an engineered humiliation. Safety features of the Crimean Bridge were touted as state-of-the-art when it opened in 2018. Russian engineers claimed it could withstand earthquakes, storms, and even military attacks. Reinforced steel frames, shock-absorbing joints, and layered asphalt were meant to protect it from collapse. But war changes the equation. The safety systems were designed for natural forces, not for deliberate, pinpoint detonations. The bridge's surveillance systems, too, were meant to detect sabotage, yet multiple attacks over the years revealed glaring vulnerabilities. Safety in wartime becomes a relative term, and on that night, the bridge's safety was obliterated by precision and audacity. What makes this event so unique is not just the destruction itself, but its symbolism. The Crimean Bridge was Putin's personal project, inaugurated with his own hand, driven over by him in a truck, and displayed as proof that Crimea was forever Russian. Its destruction, therefore, is not just military, it's psychological. It hit directly at the heart of the Kremlin's pride. For Ukraine, the strike served multiple unique purposes. First, it cut off Russia's most critical supply route to Crimea and southern Ukraine, forcing Moscow to reroute logistics through long, vulnerable land paths. Second, it proved that Ukraine could reach anywhere, even deep into Russian-controlled territory. Third, it shattered the illusion of Russian invulnerability. And fourth, it sent a clear message to both allies and enemies. Ukraine's capability to innovate, adapt, and strike smartly is growing stronger every day. As for the price of this operation, both literal and strategic, it's immense. Launching such an attack would have required advanced reconnaissance, weeks of planning, and millions in specialized weaponry. Sea drones alone can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars each, and when coordinated with missiles or intelligence satellites, the total cost skyrockets. Yet, compared to the economic and symbolic loss inflicted on Russia, the cost is minimal. The Crimean Bridge project originally cost Russia over $4 billion to build. Repairing even a portion of it after the strike costs hundreds of millions more. Each day it remains out of full operation adds logistical strain to Russian forces and erodes public confidence. In that sense, the price of the strike was strategic brilliance, spending little to destroy something worth billions. This operation also showcased the evolution of modern warfare, a blend of technology, intelligence, and psychological pressure. It's not just about missiles and explosions, it's about undermining the enemy's confidence, disrupting their rhythm, and showing that no fortress is safe. Ukraine's use of asymmetric tactics has consistently caught Russia off guard. The bridge's destruction, therefore, is not an isolated incident, it's part of a pattern. Each time Ukraine strikes deeper, it tests and exposes new layers of Russian vulnerability. In the aftermath, Russian media scrambled to control the narrative. Official statements called it a terrorist act, while photos circulating online told a different story, one of total devastation. The Kremlin downplayed the scale, promising swift repairs, but satellite imagery and eyewitness footage left no room for denial. Panic spread among the population of Crimea, where thousands depended on the bridge for supplies and escape routes. The once busy lanes turned into a ghost road, filled only with the charred skeletons of vehicles. Even days later, smoke and heat still radiated from the wreckage. Strategically, this strike changes everything. Russia must now defend not just its front lines, but every critical infrastructure deep inside occupied territories. It will have to divert resources, deploy more air defense systems, and constantly watch its back. For Ukraine, it's proof that audacity and precision can overpower brute force. For the global audience, it's an image of defiance, a smaller nation striking at the heart of a giant. The bridge, once a symbol of connection, has become a monument of destruction. It represents the unraveling of Russia's narrative of control. Putin, who once boasted of building a bridge that united Russia and Crimea forever, now faces the image of it burning under his watch, a living metaphor for a war that's slipping from his grasp. And so, as the smoke cleared and dawn rose over the blackened skeleton of the Crimean Bridge, the world saw something more than twisted metal. It saw a symbol collapse. The humiliated silence in Moscow was louder than any explosion. In conclusion, the Crimean Bridge explosion is a defining moment in this war, an event that reshapes perception, strategy, and morale. From the destroyed exterior to the scorched interior, from the tactical brilliance of the operation to its devastating impact, every aspect of this strike will be studied for years. The unique symbolism, the economic cost, and the psychological shock together form a perfect storm of military and political consequences. What was once Putin's proudest achievement now stands as a flaming scar across his legacy. Thank you for watching this deep dive. If you found this breakdown powerful, hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe to the Frontline Report channel for more stories that cut through the smoke and fire of modern warfare. Stay tuned, because in this conflict, every explosion tells a story.